and welcome to the second episode in this series of videos. For those of you who've watched and enjoyed the first video, thank you very much. And to the three of you who even gave it a thumbs up, thank you again. But as they say, great oaks do from little acorns grow. Or something. You know, words to that effect anyway. In the first video you caught a glimpse of my turntable, so perhaps now it's time to go into detail on it. This is the Dual CS505 Mark II. Replaced the Mark I edition in 1981 and was itself replaced in 1988, I believe, by the Mark III edition. And this Mark II was available in two versions. You could get it with the plastic dark grey plinth, which, funny enough, was the first turntable I had at the age of 14 back in '86, and served me very well. You know, I'm kind of glad that I started off with a proper hi-fi turntable, as they say, and didn't go down the routes that friends wanted me to go down. They were of this collective mindset that if it didn't have the Technics badge on it, then it wasn't worth a hoot. But what did I know? So, as I say, it was available with that plastic plinth, or if you spent a bit more, then you got a wooden plinth such as this one. But back then all I wanted to do was play records. I didn't care about the fineries of hi-fi reproduction. I was 14. Anyhow, this particular turntable was probably about 35 years old. I bought it in September of last year, so I've had it about 7 months. And since I've had it, well, whoever had it previously certainly didn't look after... Well, they looked after it, but they decided to have a tinker with it. And, well, break a couple of parts and lose a vital part as well. I mean, the dust cover is in very good condition, you know, hardly scratched, so I was pleased with that. Previous owner managed to, if you see here, we've got the vertical bearing that the arm sits on. For some reason they took that apart and lost the actual shielded ball bearing units, so the arm was effectively hanging and wobbling, which was peed me off quite a bit, I have to say. So I had to seek out some appropriate bearings, and actually, just let me fetch a couple of those for you. Excuse me as I come back here. Really should be better prepared, but I've got a couple here in a plastic bag. I don't know if you can focus on that, but that's the size of them. They are minute. Got a 3mm one there and a 4mm one. Fortunately, it was one of the 3mm bearings that's allowed me to salvage this. Very tricky operation as well. Other things that had to be done with this turntable, well, speaking of bearings, if you watched the last video, you'll probably notice that I was having a bit of trouble getting the arm to stop at exactly the place I wanted it to. For example, I'll place it there and it would find its way back there, because that horizontal bearing needed a bit of tightening. As is common with old turntables, you have to replace the belts, and this one also has a toothed pitch belt that needed replacing, and that wasn't easy. The pitch assembly needed some adjustment because, again, that had been fiddled with by the previous owner and was catching on the motor. And the motor itself, it's had a lubrication, and also the motor spindle itself is divided into like 6 spring fingers, which when you turn the pitch up, they open up to make it play faster, effectively. And then when you turn the pitch down, that happens. Well, one of those fingers was a bit wayward, shall we say, and was causing speed instability, so that needed tackling. And of course, when you get an old turntable, you have to replace the stylus because you just don't know where the old one's been. So here I've got the Autofon OM10 cartridge and stylus. The certainly not cheap. A replacement number 10 stylus is about £50, and if I wanted to take a step upwards, the number 20 stylus is a whopping £145. So unless I come into a bit of money, or you know, someone's feeling charitable, I shall stick with the number 10. So it's had it's been, you know, cleaned and re-lubricated, placer bearing, of course, both bearings there nicely lubricated, and it's up and running. You know, these old things certainly need some TLC, and the reason I chose this is because I had it as a teenager, so I've always trusted it. It never let me down. And you know, while I could have spent, say, £100 on an Audio-Technica ATL P60, that would have done the job nicely. Or even the Project, I think is it the Primary E, which goes for £145 at the moment. That's a very good no frills turntable, but I don't know, the pull of this old model was too strong. So let's give it a spin, shall we? This is an old favourite of mine, John Miles. Perhaps best known for his song, oh, there goes the old stylus cap. Second video and I still haven't got my bearings together. John Miles, perhaps best known for that, Music Was My First Love, from the album Rebel. This was his 1979 album, More Miles Per Hour. Didn't do anything here in Britain. Neither did any of the singles that came off it, but did well on the continent. And funny enough, it was a Spanish relative that brought this album to my attention back as a kid in 1979. And here we go, just drop that and down it goes. That is so clean, barely touched, mint condition. I think we should drop the volume there because the copyright bots will no doubt snap. You know, have a feeding frenzy. Let's see how accurately I can do this. Not very. Honestly, when I hear this album, I'm like 6, 7 years old again. You know, this is the music of my youth. Music, you know, how can anyone not like music? You know, it takes you back to a better place. You know, when you were young and life just didn't matter. You know, you had no worries, no obligations, no responsibilities. Unlike now, all those years later, 40 years later, oh dear. Right, let's see if I can land it on track number 6. Will he do it? Yes! Oh! You didn't hear that, okay. There you go, and enough of that again, because the, honestly, you can't share anything on YouTube anymore. Let's not grumble, eh? So there you go. All of 35 years old, German built, still running. You know, just give it the love that it deserves and it's not going to let you down. If I have any gripe, it's that the Autophon OM10 combination can be a bit easy listening in terms of sound. You know, full rich bass as you expect from vinyl, and smooth treble, which can be a bit too smooth at times. And I've had people saying, "No, you know, upgrade to the Autophon 2M Red." I mean, that's about 100 quid, and the 2M Blue, yeah, that's good. I'll use that one. About 180, 200 quid. Okay, give me the money. I shall upgrade. You know, I won't say no. But there you go. Thanks for watching.